Hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon. So 10th June 2024, we are here to learn about the fundamentals of HTML CSS. And I would like to go with the technical terms first, and then how to write HTML or CSS, and then how to apply it. Okay, that's what we are planning to begin today uh, and more. So HTML is what I want to start off with, and then we will be moving with CSS. So as usual, always try to know the abbreviation of this, what it stands for. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. Can anyone in the crowd try to explain what is Hypertext Markup Language? No, no worries. People who know HTML. So basically, you're trying to create a text content which will be marked to perform like a hyper, as the name says hyper. And to do that, we need a language. You people have been introduced before with something called SQL, right? SQL. What is SQL? Structured Query Language. So if you want to communicate with computer, if you want to communicate with human beings, you need a language. Kannada, English, Hindi, and many more languages which you people have learned. When you learn your first language, that will be called as your mother tongue. As simple as that. If you want to communicate with computer, you need a language. For different purposes, we have different languages. If you want to communicate with database, we have structured query language. If you want to create content on internet, web, majorly web, I cannot call it as internet. If you want to create content on web front end, you need a language where you are trying to beautify it. That is, the text content will be beautified, or you can call it as hypertext. But to do that, we have a markup. Where do you want to do it, or where do you want to start it and end it? As simple as that. Many people might find it difficult to explain. This is what it is very important for you people to learn the full form. Cascading style sheet, I'll pick it up later. It is styling. It's basically you're trying to style the text which is coming from the HTML, and it will be embedded, or you can call it as cascading, as the name says. Okay, hypertext markup language. Let's begin with the very basic and my favorite. So I'm not talking about HTML1, HTML2, HTML 4.0.1, or I'm not even discussing about HTML5. Okay, I'm not deep diving into any of this specific version. I just want to start off with very basic fundamentals on HTML and CSS. Having said that, so HTML, as I said, HTML, now we have to learn three things here. One is tag, attribute, and value. HTML is all about tags, attribute, and values. There are three major basic technical terms to understand and the syntax to go over it. Now, many a times you might be listening for something called syntax. Okay. So in CSS, we have three major technical terms to learn. CSS, that is selector, property value. Okay. With respect to HTML, there are only three technical terms: tag, attribute, value. Now, and this is the syntax. First comes the tag name. This is known as opening tag. I'll go in deep later. Then comes your content. Then comes your closing tag. All the tag names are preferred to be typed in lowercase. This is not a case sensitive language. So we have to know whether it is a case sensitive language or not. SQL is not case sensitive. HTML is not case sensitive. And probably CSS too, it's not case sensitive, but we have to be very conscious with respect to CSS, which I'll explain. So three terms, first comes tag, then comes attribute, and then comes the value. So when I'm specifying this, this is the syntax. Now, what is syntax? Now, what is syntax? Syntax is basically the grammar of the language what you're learning in computer. In Kannada, you say Vyakarna. In English, we say grammar. Exactly. Syntax, you can refer it as grammar. Grammar in computer language is known as syntax. Okay. Let me type that word for you. What is syntax? Syntax is the grammar of the computer language. You come from computer science background, you come from a BCom background or a BA background. With respect to me, I feel that anyone can learn any language in computer because you know what is the languages, because you know language. At least you have learned one language, right? Like Kannada, your mother tongue, or it might be Hindi, English, right? If you have learned English is very much required to learn computer language, but what I feel is you can learn any language. Your education background doesn't make any difference, or it is not a roadblock to learn the languages in computer. Then comes selector property and value. So let me complete it. Then comes attribute, which should be in the opening tag, and it should be always with double quotes value. You can have any number of attributes and value like this. This is the syntax, but we'll learn more when we learn some of them. Then comes the CSS. The syntax of the CSS is first comes selector, flower bracket open, flower bracket close. Within this, we'll be having property, colon, and then the value, semicolon. Then comes the second property. So you learn more in detail. Then comes the value, and you can keep adding there. So three terms, selector property value. This is how you have to type in computer to so that it can understand. That is known as syntax. In HTML, we come across tags, which are all predefined attributes and values. This is known as opening tag. This is known as closing tag, which comes with this. So this is known as markup. This is known as markup. Now let us learn a very basic HTML, and then let's try to apply some CSS for it with one simple file. So I'll be starting with HTML first. So if you type something, so it has to be this way. Okay, let me type my favorite always in any language is hello world. Okay. So when you type this text in your favorite editor, you have to save it. Let me save this. Let me save this and let me call it as folder web. And within this, I'll be saving it as index.html. You can name it anything, but remember you have to ensure that it is .html. .html. So this is my HTML. So if I go to any of your favorite browser, and if you try to open that file, okay, go to your browser, Control O, if you're on Windows operating system, you have to go to your folder and just try to open this file. Okay, you find nothing as fascinating here, right? So my favorite tag always is, I want to mark up this one. So you'll have like this. You're trying to mark it up. Okay. So all of them are text. Mark you is my favorite tag always to start HTML. So mark you tag. This is known as opening tag, mark you opening tag, and this is known as mark you closing tag. So let me type it again for you people. First, you have to, this is known as opening tag, and this is your closing tag. Okay. Here comes the tag name, and here comes the same tag name, but it is closing. You have to specify both opening and closing tag. Now I'll save it. I'll come to your browser. I'll just reload it. Okay, by making use of the refresh icon. If you have used internet a lot, I know you people have used it. So you can see this is my favorite. I'll just increase the browser size. On the right top, I can do it. So with the shortcuts, so I'll just increase it to 150 so that you can see it. This is my favorite tag, but this is not supported in HTML5, but still it is my favorite too. Start training people. Now comes, this is tag. This is tag. You have a huge list of tags, all predefined in HTML language. You have to learn those tags, how it works. Then comes attribute value, attribute value. Let's give you some introduction to attribute and value. Every tag will have its own attribute and values. So I would like to explain you about attribute. So I'll go with direction attribute. Okay. I'll call it as right. Save it. Always try to save your. Now, what do you observe? It is moving towards right. Okay. This is attribute. What is this? Attribute equals double quotes the value right. You can type it as left. That was the default attribute value which was applied. Default attribute value which was applied. Okay. Direction, right and left. Now behavior. Since it is US English, it's not OUR, it is OR, behavior, or OUR. Let's see, I have forgot that. So behavior, I'll go with alternate. First, let me go with alternate. No, it takes time. So we have to understand the behavior. To make it a bit faster, I'll make it as 250. Browser size as 250. Let's see whether it works. Yeah, you can see this alternate, it hits here, goes back and it comes down. So there are three values here. Scroll, slide, and I'll refresh it. You have to refresh it. You have to save the file every time, refresh it. HTML is my favorite language to train. It's very simple, easy, and anyone can learn it. You have to just understand the basic syntax. So this is scroll. This is the behavior. Scrolling, it will go here and it will come back. So this is your attribute and value. Scroll, then comes slide. You cannot type whatever you want. It's all predefined in HTML, but you have to just know the attribute name and value. You have to just know the attribute name and the value. Okay, this is what this slide is doing. Why? Because it is right. Left, RIGHT, behavior. Yeah, the spelling is right, so that's it is behaving as we expect to behave it. Now it is slide and the direction is right. This is how it works. Okay. To write CSS, there are a couple of more ways. I just want to introduce you people to CSS with property, value, and other stuff. Selector comes first, property and value comes next. Selector can also be called as tag name initially. There are many different selectors which we will deep dive into. So you can type or you can write CSS within HTML. We will learn different ways. So first you have to write the tag name, flower bracket open and flower bracket close. Now comes property and value. So color is a property, red is the value with semicolon. Let's see whether it works. No, it's not. Why? Since this is HTML, this is expected to be in a tag. Everything comes within a tag. Style tag open, style tag close. Then you will be typing your marquee tag color attribute value. Let's see whether it is applied. Yes. HTML comes with a style tag. Style tag is this one where we are trying to understand the term selector property value. Once again, in CSS, it's all predefined. Properties are predefined, values are defined. You have to just make use of them based on your need. So let me go with font size with 45 pixel. Okay, just as an example. And to make it more effective, it has to be in 100% to understand better. I'll reset it and then I'll just remove the direction and the behavior. If you don't type it, they'll go with default values. Okay. Now you can see the size is increased. So let me make it as 145 pixel. You can see that the size is increased. Okay. Very, very basic introduction of HTML and CSS for you people. What is color? Its property. What is red? Its value. Font size is property. So you have to just know how to type it. When we have two words in CSS, it always been separated by hyphen. If you have three words, you have to know how to type it. Okay. So we'll deep dive into HTML and CSS more, but majorly You have to just understand basic three technical terms: tag, attribute, value, how to type it, select the property value, how to type it and where. And from here after, it is only exploring all the different tags which are very important for your front-end web development. Okay. Thank you very much. As usual, this will be uploaded so that you people can watch it and we can continue with our learning on this. Thank you.